This week on Diamond in the Rough, through the magic of television, you will get to see me make this cake that's already right in front of you. I'm here at Just Like Mom's Cupcakery and Cookie Bakery right here in Maryville, Missouri. So why don't you join me and see what a real cake looks like. In Maryville, Missouri, down South Alco Road, I take a break from the restaurant scene and try Jill Baker's Just Like Mom's Cupcakery and Cookie Bakery. Her creations include cakes that have been decorated like a giraffe, a Dunder Mifflin-styled cake, and today she tackles a monkey design. Jill sketches all of her creations before then turning to the baking. I sit down right away with Jill and talk about why she opened a cupcakery. I'm here with Jill Baker, owner of Just Like Mom's Cupcakery, that I actually have an apron of right now. Thanks for meeting with me, Jill.
No problem.
So tell me a little bit, I like the word cupcakery. Did you come up with that yourself?
No. I don't know. I don't know if I came up with it or not. I have no idea. It's just a word that I like, that I think embodies the fact that it's not just a bakery. Mm-hmm. It's not just something where I slap buttercream on the top of cupcakes, but it's actually something that sort of has art to it. And I think that's what the cupcakery in my mind sort of embodies. So yeah, it's a phrase that I'm sure is being used on the East Coast and DC cupcakes and
Let's
sprinkles.
go home and Google cupcakery now, just to
Google
check.
Cupcakery. I don't know if it's a Webster word or not, but it's.
So what made you want to start the cupcakery, if you will?
Well, I was a teacher for a long time.
What'd you teach?
I taught 4th grade, I taught 3rd grade, I taught K through 1 special ed, I taught middle school. I love teaching college students, and I still do that. That's my favorite, my absolute passion. I needed something that allowed me to express creativity on a real authentic basis. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot of traveling for my job, and that wasn't working very well for our family. And so I said to my husband, I said, you know, people are always asking me to make cakes, cupcakes, cookies for whatever adventure. And he said, why don't you make it a business? And I thought, I have no business sense. I didn't take a business class in high school. I didn't do any of that in college. And he said, well, I've got business sense. And I said, okay, well, maybe if we merged those two, we'd have a business. And so it just kind of grew out of, we actually took my daughter to a doctor's appointment at Children's Mercy in Kansas City, and we stopped at a cupcake bakery called Small Cakes and bought a cupcake. And I said to Matt, I can do this. This is something I can do. And so I started dreaming up flavors, and the menu was born, and I started getting the information out, and all of a sudden it's kind of gone when it's a business. So, yeah.
Now, when you say Just Like Mom's, did your mom make a lot of cupcakes, or was that just a name?
Not that I remember. No, but my mom was a home ec teacher.
Oh, okay.
And so cooking was a huge part of our family's life. You know, cookbooks were always a part of our life. I can remember being about 6 years old and making my first mini apple pie. And so my mom was an excellent cook. My stepmom is an excellent cook. My husband's mother, before she passed away, was an excellent cook. And so to me, in a college community, what do kids want? They want something like their moms. And so to me, I'm cooking just like I would want people to be cooked for by their mothers or their grandmothers. So it just kind of came out of that.
Now, do you have a favorite menu item, favorite thing that you've cooked before, or that you just prefer to eat?
Probably my favorite thing to do are cupcakes, hands down. My husband's favorite are a cupcake called the Holy Heath, and it's a chocolate butter cake filled with caramel, topped with chocolate buttercream and toffee bits.
That sounds delicious.
My kids love the Perfect Compliment, which is a chocolate cupcake filled with chocolate ganache, topped with peanut butter buttercream and a half of a Reese's peanut butter cup. So those are kind of the big popular ones at this point.
Okay, so what is the project that we want to work on today?
Well, today we have a first birthday cake for a little boy, and his mom said that they've always called him our little monkey. That's kind of been his nickname, and so she asked that I construct a monkey. She had seen a giraffe that I had done, and she said, can you do a monkey? And I said, I think I can use the same template. The template comes from my mind. It's not a template that I find anywhere, but I think I can use that same process to make a monkey. So we're going to make a monkey today.
We're going to make a monkey. Well, let's get up to the kitchen and see what we need to do to make the monkey.
Make a monkey. Okay.
Before I step back into the kitchen to decorate that monkey cake, I asked Jill's kids, Avery and Patrick, what they thought of their mom owning a cupcakery and what their favorite dessert was.
I like it because whenever she makes chocolate chip cookies for people, there's usually like 600 extra, it seems. And she just puts it in the cookie jar and we eat them.
Yeah, that's what I like too. And then she just makes, like when she makes cookies for people and she makes more, she also just puts those in the cookie jar too. That's one of the things I really like about it.
Yeah, and you can just say, oh, my mom owns a cupcakery. The sheep is the cookie. It has a cookie inside of it, and
it has a cookie
chocolate
on top,
frosting,
and a cookie on top of the frosting.
Yeah.
Coming up on Diner on the Rough, I help Jill decorate a monkey cake and get to sink my teeth into what started it all. We are here on South Alco Road in Maryville, Missouri at Jill Baker's in-home business, Just Like Mom's Cupcakery and Cookie Bakery, where she specializes in personally crafted cakes, cupcakes, and cookies. Earlier in the show, I talked to her and her kids, and now I'm back in the kitchen and ready to learn what goes into the decoration process of one of these delicious masterpieces. So far, I've come in here to Jill's kitchen here, and we have kind of done the preliminary work on the monkey cake. I say we, and I actually mean her. I've been watching it and having my mouth kind of water. Right now, I'm about to roll out the fondant, which is the smooth covering that has the color and gives the actual whole entire look to the monkey cake.
Right. All right, so your surface is covered with Crisco.
Okay.
Because of the fact that fondant is essentially marshmallows, powdered sugar. I mean, you could glue the space shuttle together with this stuff. It will harden hard, but cuttable. Does that make sense? So it's still malleable, but it's not soft like this, like Play-Doh. So did you play with Play-Doh when you were a kid?
Yes, and I actually ate Play-Doh, so I hope that tastes a little bit better.
Did you have the little pumpy thing that made the hair grow?
Yeah, I did.
I want one of those. I don't have one of those.
They're so cool.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
It kind of dries inside, though, so you got to be careful.
Yeah,
with
you have
it.
to use a toothpick.
Yeah,
Poke it out
exactly.
there. All right, so you're going to put your Play-Doh skills to the test. And the bottom line is eventually you're going to have that smooth enough that I can lay it over the body of the monkey.
Okay.
And we're also going to lay it over the feet, the head, and the arms.
Okay.
Fondant actually starts out completely white, obviously, which you'd think from marshmallows and powdered sugar. And you actually color it by hand. So my hands sometimes are many different colors. I've got a little red there for weeks at a time. And you use gel dye. And you have to knead all of that gel dye in there to get it to be a consistent color. Okay, so this is going to be essentially the body color. Let's get that one a little bit. With fondant, you want to make sure it's pretty even all the way around. And fondant has to have something to adhere to, so that's why the body is covered in the buttercream icing, and that's why all the elements that will be covered in fondant are covered with the buttercream.
Okay.
It's kind of like drywall mud almost. You've got to have.
Well, it tastes way more delicious.
Tastes way better than drywall mud.
So kids, don't go home and eat drywall mud.
Yeah, don't eat drywall mud. Okay, let's go. Let's even this out right here.
Okay.
All right, now comes the hard part. There's two different ways to do this, so I'm going to decide what you think your level of skill is.
Okay.
One way to put fondant over something is to roll it backward over the rolling pin, and then you probably have seen on Cake Boss they have a rolling pin that's about this big,
right,
and they pull the whole thing over. And fondant weighs a ton. I mean, it's not a light endeavor that you're taking on here. What I prefer is I just scoop it all up, and I lay it over, and then we're going to smooth. We're going to drape. Excellent cake word. Yes, we're draping. That's what we're doing. Okay, so here's the situation. Start just kind of peeling up your edge.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take it over. Kind of get to the center.
Oh,
and the key. That's okay. Better to have a hole there than right in the center.
Okay.
And you are going to drape as evenly as you can over the body. Rock on. Okay. I think you've got a job. Now, obviously, we can't leave it like that unless the monkey's going to be wearing a skirt. So fondant is, one of the reasons that fondant cakes are expensive is because they do take a little bit of technique. We got a little rip there. That's okay. We can repair that later. It's not a big deal. But it's also a forgiving medium, so you can change the thing around. Like where we've got this rip, no problem. It can be fixed. Or you know what? You cover it up. You make this the belly. One of the things in cake decorating that is a must to learn is people look at cakes all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, there's no mistakes. Cake decorators are just geniuses at covering up their mistakes.
Fantastic.
Kind of like kind of like Bernie Madoff and his, his crew. They're geniuses at covering up mistakes. The next logical step is to start adding the detail work. Okay, so one of the first pieces of detail that we want to put on, because it kind of serves as the basis for everything else, are the ears. Okay. Okay. And like I said, if the toothpick, it's okay. Nope, that's good. And I think my generation is coming back to cooking. I hope that yours is. But I think a lot of people don't have the skills.
I think not only is society kind of coming back to cooking, they're also coming back to thriftiness. Thriftiness, I think, is coming back into style, too.
It is. And, you can't be thrifty by eating out every night.
Right.
And truthfully, you can only eat so many ramen noodles before...
You are preaching to the choir.
And so, I actually have a friend who's in the midst of writing a cookbook for college students, and the whole idea is you can cook. You just have to try.
After the completion of the monkey cake, Jill brought me out a staple of Just Like Mom's, a cupcake.
This is the pride of the bride.
The
cupcake.
pride of the bride.
So that is your standard white wedding cake. Normally has champagne buttercream icing and a little bit of coarse sugar sprinkle. And then what I usually do for the brides is I make a monogram out of chocolate. So
nice.
What's your last name?
Smithmier.
Smithmier. So you would have an S monogram on chocolate. But
fantastic. Well, I've always been the bridesmaid and never the bride, so I'm really happy to have this.
There you go.
Now, while I can't have the monkey cake, that's reserved for Riker. And you know what? I don't want to deprive him of his monkey cake. A lot of hard work went into that. But I do get a chance at the cupcake. And this is what started it all.
So you can get to it.
Yeah. It's like Fort Knox up in here.
It is Fort Knox. That's just a vanilla cake. So just your basic.
That is delicious. Definitely tell that's homemade. And while this isn't an eat-in restaurant, I definitely recommend it. This is truly a diner in the rough seal of approval because of the simple fact that each one of these things is made with love. And that's what all the stuff on the show is. It's stuff that's made by mom and pop businesses that really just want to give a good product to the consumer, and I highly recommend it. Just Like Mom's Cupcakery and Cookie Bakery is a fantastic example of an entrepreneurial, in-home business. The desserts are prepared aesthetically and personally, and most importantly, they taste delicious. I would recommend these cupcakes to anybody. Now, if you want to check out previous episodes, you can watch them on YouTube. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at knwt@nwmissouri.edu. Well, Jill, thank you very much. This cake turned out wonderful. Thank you for letting me help you on it. And Riker, have a wonderful first birthday party. I think you'll really enjoy it. And until we meet again, happy cupcaking. That was delicious.
Take care. Well, now, see, that's a good technique. I don't have big enough hands to do it.
Now, see, I learned this in a previous episode where we made pizza, so...
Perfect. I'm impressed. I don't know if you can throw fondant up in the air and like, whee!